Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Fiscal Services Budget Meeting. Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Legislator Castellano.
Present.
Legislator Crowley.
Present.
Chairman Elner.
Here. Evening, everybody. We're going to try and move pretty fast on this. If Commissioner Barossa would be so kind as to come up quickly, come up first.
Let's
There
do
we
the budget
go.
with diligence and not move through.
We are. Come on, Nance. We're having a little levity here. Get everybody in a good mood. Okay, we're starting on pages 232 and 233. You ready?
I'm ready.
Okay. Before we go into individuals, are you satisfied with this or any modifications which you would like to see made? Satisfied, okay. Then I'd like to open this up to the committee. Do you have any questions on any of the line items?
Straightforward.
Okay, to the rest of the legislators, any questions?
Engineering.
Bill?
Thank you, Chairman. Special services, we requested $40,000 from last year. Okay, what are you doing? Or is it gonna be put in a separate, another line, or is it, what are we not doing?
So special services was covering any extra assistance, technical assistance we needed for analyzing what we were going to do with the microtransit pilot. So at this point, we're pretty much set with that. So
What line?
Excuse me, Bill, which line number, please?
Page 38, in the middle of the thing.
232.
We're on the wrong one, he's on 38.
We're on 232.
Oh, 232.
232.
Oh,
Yeah, we started with planning, 232.
oh. Okay.
Okay, sorry,
Okay.
the first thing on the agenda, sorry.
We're gonna do all of Commissioner Barossa's, so that those are color-coded in red. Then we're gonna move over to yellow, which is Commissioner Lewis, and then we're gonna go to DPW.
Okay.
Okay, so we're on 232 and 233. Any questions?
No.
Legislator Montgomery.
Just a comment. Thank you for your first year as the Commissioner of Planning and all your support. I mean, we've got a lot of really big projects happening in Phillipstown, and Commissioner Barossa has been a great resource in answering questions that I get from the public, and I get hit with a lot and under a lot of pressure with the many things that we deal with over there. So thank you.
Okay. So if there's no other questions, we're going to move to page 269. Like to comment?
So with the special services, I reduced the amount for transportation. It's
Page 269. Oh, you don't have that.
Oh, here it is.
She needs a book.
26909 transportation.
That's really mine. That's the real copy. Is that right? That's basically,
So it's just the
that's just the total for transportation.
Right, that's all that we have.
270 is
Yeah, and then we're going to go next to 270 and 271. We were on 269, just asking if the Commissioner had any comments about that, then we're going to go to 270 and 271.
She doesn't have anything on 269, she's got something on
That's
270.
what, okay.
This is
That's the total. Okay.
So as far as this is estimated amount, a lot of our federal transportation is federally and state funded, so the total cost is offset by that. And for operating, we have available ARPA and CRISA money, so we expect this to even be further reduced by that.
Okay. I have a question on page 270, 54354, heating oil. Any particular reason why this is is Director Tully in here? Why is this in Commissioner Barossa and not in Central Services?
That's in a separate fund. I think that's the 09 fund.
Right.
Yeah, so we keep, if it's in a separate fund, it stays in that other fund.
Potentially reimbursable?
We have been getting it reimbursed.
Okay, thank you. Legislator Crowell.
54371, base budgeted for $480,000 for gasoline. Is that what you're expecting to cover it?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Question, would we see the trolley actually that would that be in revenues or would it be in federal aid?
As far as revenue, it's all lumped together. All of our fixed routes would be covered with this.
And that was another big issue in Phillipstown. There was a lot of criticism about the trolley over the years, and planning has done a lot of work this year in providing way more information, signage, QR codes, and the ability for people to pay soon online. So thank you for that, because I was under a lot of pressure with that. It was like, get rid of the trolley, but what the public doesn't understand is we can't get rid of the trolley. It's pretty much a federal mandate that we have to pass an act of Congress to get rid of the trolley. And basically it serves what most people in Phillipstown don't understand. It does serve those outside agencies well.
It can be modified.
Mhm.
It would actually be the legislature that would modify it. Fixed routes can be adjusted and changed, but it does have to go through public hearings and all of that. But it is federally funded and state funded.
Mhm.
So the cost to the county taxpayers is pretty minimal.
Mhm. Did a lot of work on that this year. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? Legislator Sage.
Hi, Barbara. I was wondering about advertising, 54664. Last year was budgeted 3,000. This year it's being budgeted at 60,000. I'm just wondering
So
what we're doing here.
we are in the middle of, we're trying to agree on a contract with our microtransit, who we've awarded a contract to. Once the contract is awarded, we're going to have to go out, do a lot of advertising and have public hearings, and really get the word out to everyone in that Part 3 Patterson area, so that they know about it and take advantage of it. So this is to possibly, address that. It's also to include wrapping and branding of our current fleet along with the microtransit fleet. So it's typically about $4,000 to $5,000 a vehicle to wrap it. Right now, the new vehicles we've been getting, we haven't been branding it. The current administration is going to work with us and come up with us, a logo for Putnam County and brand everything.
Oh, okay. And the microtransit, that you said that's just in Patterson?
That's in Patterson. It does go into Carmel, Kent, and parts of Southeast as well. it will go down to Putnam Hospital, to the plaza, and it will also cover the Croton Falls shuttle in Mayapack.
So the purple branding is gonna be changed? Purple,
That's to be determined, but possible.
okay, so that's what this advertising is for?
Yes.
I see, okay.
Legislative Crowell? I'm sorry, Legislative Blueberry.
Thank you, Chairman. 270, the seventh item down, other equipment. You're doubling what you had this year. What are we buying now?
So that is for repairs to the fleet that are above and beyond, if they're like major repairs. This year we have, our fleet right now is aging. We have 5 vehicles that have over 300,000 miles on them. We have 5 vehicles that have been on order for almost a year to replace them, but we have to keep them running until, so this is basically a contingency in case we need a major repair, just to keep the fleet going.
Legislative Crowell.
The microtransit's for the pilot that you guys have going right now, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And are you guys expanding that further into Putnam Valley this year as well?
The pilot would only be for Patterson.
Patterson, okay.
For approximately 2 years.
Okay.
To see how it works and make sure everything works, and then we're going to look to possibly expand.
Okay, thank you.
Line item 54678, lease transportation, we have a little over $500,000 increase. So how many new vehicles are in that, and what else is
So
part of
that's,
that?
the lease transportation is our contract.
Strictly contract.
So currently with MV, and it will also cover the new contract with VIA for the microtransit pilot. So this is the maximum amount. The contract with VIA will have a not to exceed cost, but it will be based off of actual mileage and number of riders. So we don't really anticipate it going this high, but that's the maximum amount. It is also reimbursable through STOA and through federal funding.
Any other questions, comments? Thank you. Thank you for a good budget.
Thank you.
Commissioner Lewis, if you would be so kind, and everybody, we're going to start on page 148.
Where's that book going?
Should they keep it there?
Yeah, okay.
Again,
Good evening.
Billy was just here.
Deja vu all over again.
What page, 140?
148,
Yep,
so please explain this.
Sure. This is a mandate that the county has to pay through the MTA. It is a quarterly payment of $95,069 under the statewide mass transportation operating assistance plan, I guess STOA, pursuant to section 18B of the transportation law. So it's just a mandated cost. It hasn't gone up, but it's still a mandated allocation that we have to pay.
Any questions of the committee? Fellow legislators?
Did you just say 95,000?
It's $95,000 quarterly,
Okay.
4
Sorry, I
quarters,
missed
yep.
that part.
And it's based on their state fiscal year.
And it's level with last year.
Yeah, it's been level for several years, but it can always increase.
And no further questions? Moving to page 149, railroad station maintenance?
Yep, pretty much the same thing. This is a payment that's due every September 1st. It's in accordance with section 1277 of the Public Authorities Law. It's for the operation, maintenance, the use of the Metro North passenger stations throughout Putnam County. And we did a conservative 2.5%, but based on what the economy is, they determine what the CPI increase will be. So like this past year was 3.63, so, but we have 2.5 as conservative, and we have some residual CARES Act money that, Commissioner Barroza worked on with her team, and we're gonna be able to use close to $791,000 to offset that maintenance cost. But then in 2026, we'll have to go back to taxation.
Okay, in 2024, it looked like we received almost $1 million more. Or is that a combination of previous years? The revised budget, 1.7 million, now we're down to 790,000.
Well, if you look at the actual in 2024, that equals, so this will be revised, that 1.7, that's gonna be revised and taken care of.
Okay. Committee, any questions? Fellow legislators? Audience? Yes.
I have a question.
Legislator
So we're
Montgomery.
paying them to maintain we're paying them to take care of their railroad stations. We're paying them what we just saw in 148.
Mandated
Mandate.
costs.
Right, every paycheck, every phone bill, every electric bill has an MTA charge. It's good to know, I'll be seeing that Friday.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Good luck. No, seriously, it'd be wonderful if you could
No,
do
it's not
something
about
there.
this, but
Yep. Okay, so now we're gonna move on to page 188, which is the Veterans Home. I'm sorry, yeah,
I just have one question on this.
going back, I'm sorry.
I'm 188.
Oh, 188, okay.
This, 54637, I know Carl is not here to answer, I'm assuming, and maybe somebody else can, that they installed some sort of security system there, so that it brought up the cost to 2,500?
Actually, I'd like to point out to the committee, the natural gas, the electric, and the security monitoring, that was an oversight. We had talked to Carl about this, and I guess, they didn't get a chance to take that out, but I'd like to put that, take these off, because Commissioner Tully's already accounted for that. And Director Lannon is already accounted for the security monitoring.
What were the three natural gas?
So it's the natural gas line, which is the 54,630 for 5,000. The electric for 54,631 for 4,700, and the security monitoring for 2,500, which is the 54,637.
Okay, so before I make a motion to do that, are there any other questions, any other comments from anybody?
They have,
Are we just zeroing them out, or
we're
do we
gonna zero them out,
just move? Okay.
because it would be duplicating it. We don't have to move it, it's already been accounted for in the DGS.
Through the chair, what's the new total? I mean, I can figure it out, but if we're zeroing, I can do it too, I just didn't know if you had it, knowing
Nope, I
that
do
it was
not.
taken off.
75.
I've done a lot of numbers these days.
I'm sorry, I
needed
didn't
a
done it
break.
too, I just figured you
We're
might have
reducing by
had it, I
9,000,
apologize.
No,
by $9,900.
We're reducing the appropriation by $12,200.
200, okay, bringing it to
12.
Wait a second, 5,000 from 4,700, 9,700?
And 2,500.
Yeah, from 2,500, there we go. Okay,
We're bringing it down
so,
So your new appropriation in total would be $29,650. You'd still would have the revenue of $50,400, which I just wanted to represent, and I spoke to Carl really quick yesterday, and I think they're fully occupied now. They have 12 residents there. There might be one or two that have, a different type of rental agreement, but I think the average is $400 a month. So that's what equates to the $50,400.
Mike, what's the total expense?
It would be $29,650.
650, thank you, okay. I move that we take line item 54630, natural gas, in the amount of 5,000, and line item 54631, electric, in the amount of 4,700, and line item 54637, security monitoring for 2,500, that we remove this from this budget. Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anything else on the Veterans Home?
Just the fact that I'd love to say that it's the only county-owned veterans home in New York State and maybe the nation. It's a great place. We do wonderful things there. Very proud of it. Thank you.
And while you're there, if you'd be so kind as to handle page 244, fish and game.
Yes. This is an outside agency. It is level funding. It pretty much supports their operation of, bait, and they do education and all that. I don't fish, so I don't.
Stocking of
Stock,
fish,
yeah.
stocking of pheasants.
I
et
eat
cetera.
fish, but I don't fish.
Do we have all their supplementals? Do we have what their invoice
Yes,
said?
every single outside agency, like we mentioned yesterday.
So we have what their real costs were for last year?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Any other questions, comments from anyone?
Do they tell you where they stock the fish?
Yes. Yes, they do. And Michelle provided some of that. I'll be happy to forward it to you.
You're not supposed to tell.
Okay, so I think we're good there at Fish and Game. Thank you, Commissioner Lewis.
You got it.
And let's start with DPW, please. And we'll start on pages 38 and 39.
Now they're here.
Tom and Joe?
Right.
Good evening and welcome.
Thank you. Carrie's gonna need a microphone. Thank you very much, appreciate it. Just a quick couple of comments. We'd like to thank everybody that's worked on this. We're gonna equate this to Thanksgiving dinner, so much goes into it, and then everybody's out of there in 15 minutes, so hopefully. But I want to thank, Carrie, our admin staff, Melissa, Susanna, Alana. We have a new Carrie Brophy, who's in Parks. She's done great so far. And also Alexis is here for the first time, and John, so thank you. They're our partners when we're getting projects done and getting POs out, so, and Michelle. Some of the stuff that won't be on here, if there's anything we can answer after today, we will. Some of the stuff goes back, we might have an end date for this year as of July 31st. So some of the fees you won't see yet, they won't be, not realized yet. And then some of our stuff, obviously, it's projects that started last year, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, and some are going into 2030. So, we'll try and, if you have any questions, we'll try and update as we can. And then, I want to thank you guys, starting from last year, for the funding. With the administration's vision and then you stepping up and giving us the funding, an awful lot has happened in the last year and a half. And it definitely has flowed down through our ranks. You got tradespeople who are actually liking to come to work and seeing what they're putting out. So, and the other piece of it is, we're also doing a pretty decent blend of outside contract work with our inside work. Case in point would be the BOE. And we've been very lucky that our low bidders have actually been local contractors. So it's been a plus to the community also. And other places where we've actually been good stewards, like you are of the cash, we are of the product, is is renting a blacktop machine this year. We probably, I think we somewhere around $225,000 we expended at a rate of would have been just under $1 million if we outsourced that. So just another improvement, another place where our trades people showed their worth and really shone. So if you have any questions, we're ready.
Legislator Crown.
I guess I'm leading the charge here. Line item 54782 and 54783, are we just switching the funding there?
Yes.
They made up a new number for the licensing.
I told you to speak into the mic.
Okay, and the reason why we had to switch from line,
I think that was,
It's Mike.
oh,
That was a director line, and to put it, consolidate into every line.
thank
Call
you.
it licensing accessories
Got it.
and accessories. Subscriptions.
Okay, I see that 54682, you were able to reduce the cost on that by almost $40,000.
Special services.
Yes.
Yeah, miscellaneous engineering projects, consulting work for, whether it be facilities improvements or, engineering projects for roadway improvements too, so.
Legislator Castellano?
So it was a bigger ticket in '24, but look, going out, we think we're in good shape with the number we're asking for.
Item 54385, uniforms, you guys asked for 3,000, got 2,000. Any reason for the uptick? It was 2,000 last year, so it's level funding, but
We did rebranding too, and then we also have to see what the numbers come in at after CSEA contract for things like boots and we do supply all safety equipment kind of stuff, so. Boots are one of the big ticket items, so that once the contract comes in.
But it went down from what you requested by $1,000, and just want to make sure that that's proper funding.
Is that enough for what you guys need?
A lot of it was the rebranding last year too, so we think we're fine going forward. And we stocked up, don't tell them.
Can I get a shirt?
Okay, and I see our wonderful friends at DEP and DEC, we have to pay them $11,000 in fees.
That went up.
Yeah, those are for land use permits, increased pricing, increased frequency for water sampling as well, so.
Any other comments, questions on pages 38 and 39 from anyone? No? Okay. So now we're gonna move on to pages 44 and 45. Do you guys see any modifications that you'd like to see on any of these? Okay, and while everybody's looking, I'd just like to, a question on 54210, vehicle leasing, okay? Director Tully, do we know if these are enterprise equity lease vehicles?
Yeah.
They are? From discussion with the department, I believe that they have a 2020 Colorado with less than 20,000 miles, and the other vehicle is a 2020 Jeep Compass, which we thought was less than 15,000. Joe, has that been?
It was actually just less than 23,000.
Those
That's
23,000. Due to the age of the vehicles, are we in that sweet spot where by releasing them, we're gonna save some money?
Yeah, the budget that we reconciled for Commissioner Lewis reflects any changes that would be made to those vehicles in the ensuing year.
Right, so what I'm asking is, are these two vehicles going to be turned in and other vehicles are gonna be leased? Because, so that's a yes.
And we anticipate doing it at a time when there's net positive equity.
Well, that's what I'm asking, do we have net positive equity at this time?
We will, and that equity was reflected in the DGS budget.
Okay, but there's, and this is where the confusion, we're showing $15,000 in this department's budget line.
For the lease expense, correct.
But they're not reimbursable.
they're not reimbursed for.
So they
No,
shouldn't be
so my question is, is this DGS or is this just for the department?
That's for the department. That, if you recall, yesterday evening, we spoke about how the vehicle leases are allocated throughout all departments. So all departments that have leased vehicles are reflected the same way. You will see that leased vehicle expense. That's what added to some of the confusion as you went through the budget process. But I've sent the county auditor our spreadsheet, and we can go through that separately.
Okay.
It shows that lease expense ties out directly to the vehicles that they have in the Department of Public Works.
Okay, so now to Commissioner Fieri, now that looks like you're gonna be getting 2 vehicles, do you have any preference for what those vehicles, and have you communicated them accordingly?
Nice rims. I mean, it's needed, you know, especially some of our big projects coming up. We've got an engineering staff that's gotta get out to sites daily, so.
So please,
the mileage-
forward your recommendation.
Yeah, I mean, the mileage will be low. We've been the beneficiary in the past of everybody else's leftovers. So whether it's BES, the Sheriff's Department, we've taken corrections cars. They're still on the road now, we still use them. So they're at the end of their life for those departments, but for us, we love them, we'll take them. Well, I think we have 4 right now. Right?
Suburbans and Tahoes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, but this is specific that the enterprise equity lease, these vehicles are in the sweet spot, so when new vehicles are leased, we actually save money. So specific to these 2, if you have any preferences.
We'd be happy if the county's buying other cars, we'll take the leftovers.
You'll take the
Because
leftovers
we're
and
not gonna
not even
put on,
lease
you know,
anything,
we're-
understood.
Well,
So,
just because-
so you'd be okay with removing this from your budget and taking
Yes,
the leftover?
yeah. We're gonna be low mileage, so it's not, yeah.
Okay, so let's think about that. I don't want to do that now, but that's something definitely when we adopt the budget, we can look at taking this out. Okay, any other questions, comments?
And our automotive is actually,
Just the way that the surplus vehicles that come out of other departments go, is we do have a process that we go through looking to identify the needs of other departments, not just DPW. So any surplus vehicle decision, we should talk about before you make any changes to the budget, because there are other departments where they use surplus vehicles in the execution of their operations as well. And that all funnels through, by charter, through the procurement department. Okay.
Okay. Okay, so we're good here on pages 44 and 45. Yes, I'm sorry, legislative movement.
Thank you, Chairman. 46, there was maintenance for machines.
We're just on 44 and 45 because of the coding.
Sorry.
Actually, you know something, Bill, you may be right.
That's on page 146.
146.
That's on 146.
Yeah, so 146, I was just saying, okay, so we're done with 44 and 45, so now we're gonna jump, I'll go to 146.
Thank you, Chairman. Machine maintenance, you're requesting $44,000 less this year compared to last year? What?
Actually, last year was a special circumstance. We had to perform load bank tests in our generators, which were required every 3 years. So we had to ask for increased funding for that. That was in line last year, whereas opposed to this year, it's not required, so.
Thank you.
we're not greedy.
Commissioner Lewis, I'm gonna ask for your assistance, please, on line 54630, natural gas. In 2024, that was shown as a revenue item.
There is no,
And it's zeroed out. I'm just curious why we're showing that.
I mean, for the purposes of the 25 budget,
Zero.
it is in the DGS model, so we'll just have to look at that Oh, but that's 2024's activity that you're looking at. Because you could see in the 2024 adopted, there was 0 in there.
Okay, any other questions, comments? Legislator Montgomery?
Just so I can make a note, can you remind me what page where the rental income went for Cove Care, MH Mental Health, and Camp Ehrlich? I went to health. Where'd it go?
PGS.
Social
We
services.
talked about it.
Yeah.
Services.
I just want to know what page it's on, but I'll find it. It's okay.
Okay, and I see that you guys have reduced your subcontractor line by almost $25,000, 54647. And overall, this budget looks like you've reduced it by about 73,000. Nice.
Some of those numbers were results of rollovers from years past, from the year prior, I should say. So we had to account for that in last year's budget, so it's an inflated number.
Okay. Now, if there's no other questions, we're gonna move along to pages 210 through 215, Parks and Recreation. I asked Amy Poehler to come, and she said she was busy.
Leslie.
Okay, and actually Legislator Montgomery, right up there at the first line item, the first line item is rent for Tilly Foster.
Yeah, tell me what page we're on again?
210.
Thank you. So rent went down. I don't have the page in front of me, but I know from before. Rent went down for Tilly Foster?
Well, the Jarworthy is now no longer there, that's gonna be the new youth bureau building.
Mhm. What was,
I'm sorry.
what did you say was no longer there?
Jarworthy, the candle shop.
Oh, that was part of the farm. Wow, okay. So, good.
Do we have any additional space available for rent at this location?
Cornell Cooperative is in the midst of planning their piece. It won't be a rental, obviously. It'll be its own space. There is some property that would need upgrading, possible second barn. No, right now, nothing's in shape.
Okay, because the reason I ask is a outside agency wanted to know if we had 2,500 square feet and what the cost would be
Yeah, no.
for office space, okay? And do we just have an explanation for, 427011?
13,000?
Yeah,
That was a refund of prior years
yeah.
in 2024. I can look into that.
Okay, so it
I
was
don't
just
have the answer.
revenue, it's, okay. And Legislator Crowley?
54710, building maintenance and repairs went down to 0 completely. So we're all set over there, I assume?
That's contingency.
We've asked for that every year, so, yes, we'd love to have that in there, just going through
That's
the
the
next year.
sub-contingency.
It's 25,000 that we
Right.
are putting, asking
And we-
for in subcontingency.
Usually we
Okay.
explain
Draw
what the
down.
need would be at the time and ask for it, so.
And 54636, this is recurring. I see, we're gonna find, as we continue to go down, we have a $4,000 charge for internet. I'm just wondering if there's any way we can do some consolidation, because as we go through all these, if memory serves, we're gonna be between $10,000 and $15,000 for internet, and I'm sure some of that might be television. If we can find a way to cut that and maintain the services, I think that would be a good thing. And I'm assuming the security, 54637, this is zeroed because it's been centralized?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Chairman?
yes.
So farm animals and feed for farm animals, 54145 and 54146. It's my understanding that we don't actually own all of the animals there. Are we feeding and vetting all of the animals at our expense? or do the owners of these animals?
Per the MOA, which I think I had sent you last year after last year's meeting.
Yeah.
We are required to provide feed and hay for the horses there, but we do not own them, that's correct.
And they don't pay rent or anything?
As far as I know, no.
No.
That's something we should look into.
Oh, for the past 6 years. So, and just a comment about the internet costs, I mean, probably not on this page, but when we see the for-profit organizations that use Tilly's Table, maybe as those internet costs go up, we can incorporate that into their expenses? But that would have to.
When's the lease up? I think that's
That'll be
something.
contractual, right?
Yeah, so when the lease renews, that's something.
Right.
Yeah.
It usually is adjusted at that point, you know.
Okay.
Any extra cost.
Great, thank you.
And on the following page, you notice that our commissions our projected commissions have gone down to about half. And also there's another, like an internet cost here, 3,000, so now we're 4 and 3, we're already at 7,000.
So basically that is commissions from tickets sold for concerts and also parking. Because we're trying to work with WAC, the governing body of the farm. We were hoping for next year, but it looks like it's gonna be the year after, where we're gonna be able to build a permanent stage that can hold more people, makes it a more desirable place for listening to a concert. Right now, we're kinda on the side of the hill, and it's, you know, it's obviously, it's very, it just shows you the numbers, it's not working out to where it should be. But it's still a profit.
When do we anticipate paying off the note for WAC so we will limit all those restrictions?
It's actually gonna be a little different. We're gonna stay within the WAC body. They're just gonna carve out a bigger acreage, which is MADA, which we'd be allowed to use for other things, which helps us.
Okay. Any other questions, comments? Legislator Sage?
Just a comment. I love Tilly's Table. I love Tilly Foster Farm. I think it's a beautiful open space for people in Putnam County. And just looking at the budget here, it doesn't cost the taxpayer a dime. It actually takes money in, $114,201 that it takes in. So kudos to the administration, kudos to your department for all your hard work in keeping that up and
Thank you.
making a profit for taxpayers.
Okay, no other questions, comments? Let's move to page 212, please, which is the golf course. Legislator Crowley.
52670, kitchen equipment and appliances for $15,000.
Yeah, that's for a new walk-in cooler for this year. The existing cooler is in a pretty severe state of disrepair, so we'd like to use that funding to purchase a new cooler for the restaurant, or the kitchen, I should say, sorry.
And obviously that falls upon us as the leaseor.
Yes.
Well, also, we are essentially the operator, even though we lease it out because of the safe harbor laws. So.
Okay. Let's just hope for good weather, because I see that we're projecting an increase of about $240,000, $250,000 in income from the golf course, so let's hope that happens. Any other questions, comments, concerns? Legislator Goulman.
Thank you, gentlemen. Were we buying some type of equipment for the kitchen, requesting $15,000 this year?
Just did that.
Yeah, that was the walk-in cooler.
That was the walk-in cooler.
Yeah, I mean, if I was to put an age on that cooler, it's we've already repaired the doors, it's at end of its life. We've already probably put in, the last 4 compressors in the last 10 years. Yeah, and we, when we did the downstairs, we did we did a lot of great upgrades there. This was the only big ticket item we couldn't touch when we did the upgrades. It was just out of funding, but it's at the end of its life.
Okay, so, question, yes?
Just a comment, you indicated, you made note of the revenue, and Legislator Sage made a note that the Tilly Foster doesn't cost us a dime, but I think what we're lacking here, we don't see in this budget, but we have, and we can get, is the debt service we have on these 2 physical properties that we own, and that we did put a lot of money into, and I'm sure it's not paid off yet, but it's good that some revenue is coming in.
We, if you remember in our audit report, we're gonna try to get out of that safe harbor rule. We have a $3 million slated for the called a callable bond. Once we have the chance to refinance that bond, we're gonna pay it off, and then we'll get out of that safe harbor and pretty much change the whole way of doing the contract, like we do with Tilly's. So it will be fully paid off.
But it's still $3 million into it, so it has cost the taxpayers a lot of money. Just had to make that point.
Okay.
Thank you.
Now we're gonna
More
move
than a
to
dime anyway.
pages 245, 246. I'm sorry, Karen?
213,
Sorry.
54330, medical supplies. We getting rowdy over there?
They made us, they wanted we used to put the medical supplies in the regular supply line, like poison ivy stuff, first aid kits.
Okay.
And we just made up a new line, so it's gonna be kept separate in
Oh,
its
okay.
own line, like.
That's
poison
also your
ivy.
parks.
Yeah, no, I just
yeah.
haven't seen that line before, so I was
It's a
wondering
brand
what
new
it
line.
was.
It's in a couple of the other funds also.
Thank you very much, appreciate it.
Okay. Now we're gonna move to 245, 246, soil and water.
I'm sorry, what was the question?
No, we're just.
Your name?
It's just your
Your
turn.
name, oh, it's your name, it's your time.
It's your job.
It's your job, it's your time.
Good morning, Neil.
Nice to see you,
No,
Neil.
that's right.
Okay.
They have code conference, I live
I
here.
know, that's right.
Okay, again, any modifications? You happy with what's here? Do you have concerns?
I don't know, I mean, some of the, I guess I'm here because some of the Part B and Part C money, it's a little bit of a hybrid between the ambitions of the Soil and Water Board and the Planning Board and the county, so I guess if anything, I'm here to field any questions you might have about the Part B and C money and where it is and where it's going. We had a nice visit last month with the B and C money and approved some good projects. I think in general, we're on the right path with the Part C money, which is a much bigger pot, which we're trying to, with a lot of help from Legislator Elmer and Sage from the Soil and Water Board about how to develop that money so it's a little alacrity, so that we're a little more flexible with what we can spend the money on.
Okay, good. Legislator Sage.
And for people who are not the Soil and Water Board, who don't understand what this is, can you explain what the Part B and the Part C money is? That's money that we get from the state for certain.
Correct. So the Part B is a standing grant of $6,000, and it's called the Community Conservation Grant. And it can be used alone or as part of a larger municipal or private conservation effort. So we saw in the past it's been used for rain gardens, and then just last month we approved the fish cradles over at Kirk Lake. So we took a little break there for some staffing changes in soil and water, and then we got in and out of COVID. So we're just starting to get moving with that type of funding again. And again, the Part C money, which Mike, what are we, the Part C money, the trust is at what now?
Over 500,000.
A little over 500,000. And again, the, what we're trying, and it's much more flexible. It basically requires, and the amounts, we're a lot of flexibility with how much we spend also, but the process, I think, is a little bit easier. Again, we get a vote on the board, I make a short pitch to the people, to my supervisors at Ag and Markets, and if it seems like it's a good Part C project, well, then we can move ahead with it. So, one example of one thing that we've been working on, if you're a nonprofit, and this is where we're going, I think, with one of the projects, if you're in a nonprofit, you can get in, you could apply for a lot of grants. But the problem with, especially with construction type problems that have to do with drainage and erosion and things that are soil and water related. Culverts, right. They require that you put up the soft costs ahead of time. So you have to, in order to get in on the grant money, you have to give drawings, surveys, you have to, have a lot of this worked out, and a lot of them don't have it. A lot of the nonprofits, they don't even have that. So one of the directions that we're going with the Part C money is to fill that gap where, just sketch it out for us, give us a good idea where you're headed with this. We'll give you the money to get the engineering plans and the architectural plans that you need to get in the grant pool in order to get in that game that we can help them get in there. So that's just I don't know, I think that's where we're headed with the Part C money.
I noticed here that you, in revenue, you're expecting 26,000 less for performance measures.
26,000 less?
Less, yeah.
Well, yeah.
Based on the revised budget.
They didn't have anything in that tentative. This is what we had last year, and
Yes, our anticipation on that?
Well, we don't know yet because we don't know because the pot of money that becomes what gets put out or distributed for the Part C money depends on not only our performance but on the performance of other agricultural districts. So let's say, I think now if everybody does their performance measures 100%, we would get, I think, roughly $250,000 now we're up to, somewhere in that vicinity, just, okay?
So there's a possibility.
Right, if other districts don't make all their performance measures, and we do, well, then we get more. But we don't know until everybody submitted their performance measures and we see how everybody did, and then we know.
Okay. Any other questions, comments?
So those we can't identify Part C, those revenues, they're not line itemed in the budget, they're just all lumped in with the revenue. Is that correct? I mean, we're not.
No, we make a separate appeal for those, I think, like we did last
So where
year.
would it be reflected in this budget?
The 6,000 is the Part B, and 60,000 is the Part C.
It's 439,106, so that'll need to be
39.
6,000?
Yep.
Yeah.
Jack, can you repeat that, please?
439,106. Is that right?
Yes, that's at 439,106.
Yes.
Right, that's the Part B.
That's Part B, and then
And then
measure-
performance is 439,105.
That's the Part C.
That's the Part C.
Let's see.
Thank you. Okay.
Can I ask another question? So I know other soil and water districts throughout the state, they are able to fund their own projects and write their own checks. And I'm just wondering if that's a possibility for our soil and water board. I don't know if that's something that the commissioner would be okay with, but since the soil and water board is responsible for getting these funds, doing the performance measures, these are supposed to be checks that are written out from the soil and water board to support projects that are voted on by the board.
That's been raised by, again, my supervisors at Ag and Markets who they're not really crazy about the fact that I have to come to the legislature for a release. And I've tried to explain, we're a little bit of a hybrid. It's just the way we're set up. I mean, I'm a county employee under the umbrella of the DPW, running a soil and water program funded by New York State. So it's a little circuitous route. I think I've talked to Mike about trying to see what we can do about maybe streamlining things a bit, but again, I don't know.
If I may, similar to mental health and, the state funding that we get for the Bureau, mental health services, like a lot of it, some salaries are even paid through those state funds, but your salary's paid through the county funds, not the state funds.
My salary is paid partially from county funds and then partially from Part C money, actually, yeah. In order to keep my salary sort of with everybody else's in the region.
Same as the other departments.
Right, it's not an uncommon practice.
As long as he performs.
As long as I perform.
Okay.
Well, and I have other projects that are, sort of under the umbrella of the DPW with the
MS4.
The MS4 has
Monster.
a little bit of and part of that is in performance measures and in the work we do on the dams and things, so I guess that's why it's set up the way it is, because sometimes it's not always cut and dry.
Thank you.
All right?
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks.
So we're gonna move up now to page 260, and we're gonna go through all these differences. We're gonna go 260 right through 268. First is All County Road Fund. Okay. See, the tentative is a little bit less, is about $500,000 less than the request.
So did you say 268?
260 we're starting. Okay.
Is that 3310, the traffic?
Sign shop, traffic control.
First we're starting at 260. You have any comments on that? Are you guys good? Because that's basically totals. Okay. So then 261 is traffic control. Any questions, comments from anybody? Okay. Legislator Crowley.
52180, we have 2,500 allocated for other equipment.
That's basically, these guys take care of all the signs throughout the county too, so whether it's a pole saw, chainsaw, anything to help clear small tools.
Okay.
Okay, now we're gonna move to 262, 263, maintenance, roads and bridges. Again, anyone, audience too, comments, questions?
Roads look good.
If I can say, Tom Linder, undersheriff, came up and said he's never seen as much blacktop in this county as he has, and it's not, I'm not just saying it's DPW, it's even our other partners. We're working really great together with towns and villages. If you're in Kent now, Patterson, Southeast, Putt Valley, even Cold Spring, part of shared services is really showing its worth, because it's amazing amount of blacktop that went on this last year and a half,
Okay,
especially this summer.
so now we're gonna go to 264, and I don't, I'm sorry.
Sorry. 54560, equipment rental lease, 40,000.
Yeah, so we had a really successful year with the paper, as Tommy just alluded to there, so we'd like to
Do we
budget
just do,
for
I'm
that.
sorry.
No, we brought up
This is
earlier,
for paper?
so the paper we rented for, and we extended it 2 weeks, actually, give us a week free. We extended, I think it was 10 weeks total, under $40,000. That was part of the $225,000 I was telling you about. That would have been upwards of $900,000 in value if we'd go out and have our lots paved and things like that.
Great, thank you.
We even did a mile bike trail, which, believe it or not, the original bike trail is in need, and we're gonna do it in-house, so that would cost a
Awesome,
lot.
thank you.
Okay.
Question, did you guys ever buy the vacuum truck?
Not yet.
Well,
That's another matter.
that's it.
We're working on it.
We're working on it.
Actually, talk to Senator Harkam, that would be a great conversation.
Yes,
It's
he's
in
been
there
very
also now.
helpful so far.
I'll call,
Yeah.
he's not my senator, but I call
Yeah,
him
but
anyway.
he's great.
Great.
Yeah.
So is
He said he would help, that's what my.
Crest funding, is that what?
No, it's actually a WQIP money, so it's taxpayers' money, it sits in DAP probably.
Very quickly, where we are on this is that the DEP is saying that we're only allowed to use 50%, and because only 67% of the roads are within the watershed, so we can only apply 50% of 67%, and they threw out a 2024 schedule to us. And I pointed out to them that we've had these funds way before 2024, and in the past, you've given us 100%, and they're saying our intent was for capital. I said, I thought a truck is a physical, durable, capital good, so this is where the stalemate.
Well, and protecting
Has
the
been.
waterways too.
Right.
because
Oh,
it's-
absolutely.
I've got
I mean,
And part of, the crazy part of MS4 is
Yeah.
is cleaning out basins and things like that. And the worst part is the town of Carmel got our truck. The good part is we're good with shared services, so. we can't
Literally
tell
the
how-
truck
but
that-
The actual truck that we spec'd out, they, yeah, God bless them. So we might stick a DPW logo on the side of
When they
it.
share,
Yeah, we got some
will share it
magnets,
with us for
okay.
Pittsburgh Road in the spring.
They will, right, they will.
I'm gonna just point out again, 54636, because we were at 7,000 before. Here's another 5,000 for the internet, so we're up to 12. And if we can find, again, just find a way to reduce that, that would be great. Any other questions on 262, 263? So now we're gonna go to 264. I'm not gonna mention the first word, and I'm just gonna say removal.
Super.
And obviously, this is completely subject to weather and accumulations.
Wait, 264 it is?
Yes.
County snow removal.
Joe
Oh,
said
there
the
it
word.
is. Oh, the big one.
Just like some-
Yeah, we need snow. We do want it to snow. Sorry, we live in New York.
Just not on the roads.
Exactly.
Sometimes.
Everything will die.
Okay. Everybody, any questions? Okay. And then moving on, 265 is, because we do some of the state roads. Any questions? Okay. Now we can go to 266, which is, it's pretty much a total of road machinery fund, and I guess that explains on the next one, 267, 268. And we know 54370, even though it says it is automotive, that's actually truck maintenance, correct?
Correct.
To keep our fleet
Major repair.
major repair. Yep.
Outside contractors.
And towing as well.
And all the diesel fuel is bought by your department, it's not through DGS.
Correct.
Any questions, comments? Legislator Sage?
Other maintenance, that's it's like a new line for the amount of $50,000, 54898.
Oh, so yeah, we actually plan to put out a bid for oil water separator cleaning this upcoming year, because they're due, so we're gonna budget for that this year, so we can handle that.
That's in your garages
Yeah.
and separates the.
Oh, okay.
They're basically oil or separators, grease traps, what have you, so.
Yeah, grease traps, what I used to do.
Legislator Crowley?
Software licensing and licensing software, we're swapping them out again. I assume we're creating a whole new budget line moving forward?
Yeah, that's correct.
So the other one will be obsolete next year?
Yes.
So if there's no other questions, let's jump actually to the front of the book, which is the capital projects.
One last thing, if I can, just while we're on this one, just somebody FYI, hopefully next month, we're working with the advisory board, we're putting together a internal kind of committee to upgrade pretty much visibility, social media for parks, Tilly, golf course. Along with that, there'll be a fee increase, nominal, but there's a couple places where we can definitely recover some money that, especially we rent it out to any commercial enterprise, right? So let's say, for the park, we just have San Gennaro, so for our light towers, our obviously our manpower, but things of that nature. So the advisory board should be done, a couple of tweaks, and we're hoping to give it to you guys by November. And then same with the golf course, there'll be some non-residential fee increases and cart rental fee increases. So that's gonna be reflected in next year's budget. We were very conservative with the numbers, but it's gonna be greater for sure. And some of the things like this year at the park was, obviously the 4-H has been there for a while, Irish Fest, but new ones were Pride, CPAB, NICEAG did a big day there with safety. We did our own safety there too, actually, with Local 60, and then the San Gennaro. So we think with all this visibility, you're gonna see a lot more flow, and I will argue with you on the, it is great seeing, whether it's the bike trails or Tilly every day, not just the BOCES kids, but there's families there every day, and the golf course is, sometimes people will not too happy because there's too many people playing it, so your rounds are a little slow, but it's great to have it here, and not traveling someplace else, so that's, and like I said, I think next year, we put in conservative numbers, I think next year we're gonna have even better numbers, and we're not looking to make money, we're looking to cover our costs, and then to improve all those facilities. Now, we can only do that if we're in the blue, we can't do it if we're in the red.
So with that, I don't know if you said that, I missed the first part. Can you collaborate with tourism? I mean,
So we met yesterday, so it's tourism, it's, and Tracy came back also, so it was Tara and Tracy. We had Katie from Tilly and from the golf course. We had Kerry Brophy, Chris Formasano, myself, Chris Ruthin, and then obviously the advisory board, they have their input, and then we have Troon's input on the golf side. So, we're gonna come up with decent fees, present them to you guys, but the collaboration, now it's gonna go under the Putnam County Gov site, but you'll have a tag that says Parks and Rec. You'll have a tag that might say Tilly or golf course, they'll be separate, but it's just gonna improve for visibility
Yeah, because tourism has all of that money for advertising
Right.
outside of the county, and it
Yep.
can certainly be used for.
like our county
that.
fair we'll do next year. Right now, the Arts on the Farm are at Tilly. We did the Think Differently day. Now it's gonna be all incorporated, and it'll hit, over 10,000 people we have already that's gonna hit locally, so it'll be great.
Get some people from the west side of the county.
Correct, and
here.
if there's anything going on with it, likewise,
Okay.
Well, we just need services over there, we don't need any more people or
Getting the
tourists over
bus.
there.
Getting the
We
bus.
just need the tourists to come over here, and we
So
need
it-
the county services over there. That's
So
what we
is
need.
there a tramway in capital projects going from the east to the west and down there?
There's a train.
It's a train, thank you. Subway, but okay.
We just need services, we don't need a train.
So
Transportation.
what would you guys like to talk about here for the capital projects? I know Legislator Montgomery and I were both on the capital projects committee. That was pretty smooth and things were pretty much approved. Are there any highlights? Also, Alexis was there too.
Alexis is the boss of the town.
So is there anything you'd like to bring to our attention on these?
I think it's, I think it's an excellent lookout for many years. We started Fair Street, by the way, a couple of weeks ago. We're gonna have a community outreach on November 18th. It's funny, the conversation about Fair Street getting redone, I was just getting out of high school. So it's actually happening.
God.
It's absolutely, it's incredible,
You stayed there a long time.
I got left back sometimes, but to see these things come to fruition, the base bridge is gonna be open, the hardest part of this.
I have to, because I had a bunch of constituents hammer me. When are we gonna get the Drewville Road
That's also coming.
roundabout? When do you projected, when are we gonna actually start it?
So, they don't just start with the first guy on shovel, right? So the preliminary stuff's already been in the works. We're hoping, and we're trying to keep an eye on,
Spring?
well, yes, and we're also trying to keep an eye on Route 6. So the DEP's job there, shutting down 2 access roads to the hospital coming from that side would be disastrous, obviously. So we're trying to balance that and getting all our ducks in a row with the town of Carmel, because it's their water and sewer to go through there, not sewer, their sewer.
Gas, water.
Their water and gas,
Sewer,
actually,
gas, well,
everything goes through that intersection, by the way.
Right.
So, there's gonna be a lot of, obviously,
Yeah.
coordination.
But we do anticipate having that out to bid over the winter.
Yeah,
We're on track for that. so.
and we also, Sprout Brook starts in the spring. We'll have a November meeting with Connell Village,
Okay.
and,
And the bikeway behind Leah Honda, that bridge, we have a pre-construction meeting actually scheduled for next week with the contractor.
That's great.
So that should be starting shortly thereafter, so that's finally coming.
If I could add 2 cents to that, the bridge is phenomenal, and I remember when they took down the old Brewster Honda, and the view that you had of this old bridge was fantastic.
Yep.
And I hope in the architectural of this new bridge, rehab, whatever, there would be a spot for people to actually stop and take a look at the reservoir and
it's
the
gonna be
area.
called the Joe Castellano Bridge, actually.
No more of those. I got the other one down there too, but it'll be great, I think it'll be
Like to make a
phenomenal.
motion to name the bridge?
The Memorial Bridge.
No, not Memorial, you're still with us, so.
Yeah.
Happens to.
But, and if I can add, the other bridge I want to ask you about, the one that goes over Route 6 on the
Right.
bike path, it needs to be painted.
We have reached out, that's the state, obviously, so we've reached out I can't tell how many times emails Joe sent, we know people by the first name right now. It was supposedly, Region 8 we thought it was coming out with that charge of
Batch
paint,
of
batch,
painting,
yeah,
yeah.
it didn't happen.
I don't understand why the other bridges, though, they didn't, I don't know, they're painted differently or something?
Well, it's also hard because it's
By the reservoir.
It's a Metro North owned by a reservoir,
Yeah.
DEP property on a state road. So it's like the
That's
worst of
the
bureaucracy.
trifecta.
They
Yeah.
have lead paint on the bridge too, so you have to
That's the
go
other
through the
part.
proper remediation.
But the other bridge by Leah Honda looks perfectly fine. I don't know why it's the same type of bridge. You know what I'm saying? I just.
Yeah.
I think that's a
Be
bit older.
structural, but not material.
That bridge was constructed in 1896, if I'm not mistaken, whereas the other bridge was, I think, 1958, the one you're referring to, over Route 6 there. so.
Okay.
I didn't know those numbers, that's impressive.
Yeah.
Plays a lot.
To get moved, yes,
You were talking about meeting with the community, and I really appreciate that and the work you've done with
It's booked, I
communicating.
don't remember, I think it's the 9th maybe?
Yeah, I have it written down. With that, we've got a lot, I don't know if it's specifically in the capital projects, I don't remember, but the congressional $7.2 million, it's really only $5.5 million for the pedestrian improvement projects. The portion of that is in Phillipstown. I've been talking to some of the elected officials in the village of Cold Spring and trying to help them understand what the county's exactly going to do on Fair Street there. So when the time comes, could we also, bring on you guys to a village meeting to discuss that with the public and the village about what you're gonna do?
I believe that's the project which is in transportation. That's the one you're referring to?
Yeah,
Yes.
yes.
Okay.
Yes.
We are also in the process of conveying that piece of property. It's kind of strange, it's gotta go to Phillipstown first, and then Phillipstown, because it was theirs originally, and then it has to go to Cold Spring.
So, well, there's there's the 700-foot part that the county owns that you're handing over to the town,
Mhm.
but there's also that parcel that's half marsh that you're gonna give to the village,
That was originally Phillipstown
so
property.
you have to give
we-
it to the town
Town
first.
first, and then.
And
so-
then it's gotta come town
Folks.
first, and the town will give it to the
And then
village.
town goes to the village, right, exactly.
If you wouldn't mind, this
Sorry.
is very important. I'd love you to continue this afterwards, but let's go through
Sure.
all the
Sorry.
capital projects. There's some people that need to get out of here,
Deal.
the audience, but, okay? So is there any specific, dollar-wise, anything that you would like to bring to the attention of the public? Or like I said, this is thoroughly vetted, it looked good, we've got projects all over the place. And I believe Commissioner Lewis was instrumental on this, is that we were able to use, we're not borrowing money to do this, we're borrowing minimal amounts, so we've reduced the cost, because we're not having to pay interest on those notes.
Okay.
And even, I just want to point out, even on that borrowing column, all we're really asking for at this particular time is to get the authorization to potentially go out for the bond versus, because if we committed this to general fund, then literally on January 1st, I would be taking $2 million out of the general fund for a project that probably is not gonna start for quite a while. So this is just to get the authorization, and if we need to use it, if the interest rates go down, then we can go down that avenue. But we'll try to look and see if we can repurpose other types of funds to subsidize this local share.
Thank you.
Yep.
Legislator
Chair,
Adamisi.
thank you. I have a question on the Youth Bureau relocation. You said they're going with Jarworthy?
Yes.
Okay, is that big enough? 'Cause that's-
Yeah, they've
Oh, really?
already, where the furniture's going already. So,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. 'Cause it
And we're gonna add the
seemed-
ADA component to it, out of our ADA
Oh.
line, because it has to be upgraded to ADA anyway.
So is it the
Yeah.
same square footage that Jarworthy was using, or you?
They're gonna use the second floor also.
Oh, okay.
Yep,
Okay,
yep. So we'll have room for arts and crafts and all sorts of good
Great.
stuff, so, yeah.
thank you.
Anything else?
Congratulations to Legislator Castellano and Nassimino for the last physical budget.
Yes.
Right.
I still think he deserves a bridge.
I did too. I paid the bridge. I'm happy.
No. Thank you to all the commissioners. I'm sorry, do you have a hand?
I was gonna express the same, so I'll do mine and you do yours. Thank you for all the work you've done this year and especially in being able to communicate. It's very refreshing and helpful, and we get a lot done. We get a lot done.
Thank you to DPW, thank you to planning, thank you to purchasing, thank you to finance, because everything is right here, we can see it.
It's got a big head already.
Soil and water, we gotta get the dirt in there, thank you, then, yeah. So we're good, so,
You guys are adding 480. Amazing.
yeah, so I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank
Good
you.
night, everybody, and please continue that discussion.